we've been talking, of course, about Labour's outrageous decision to deprive the nation of any inquiries whatsoever into the worst mass sexual scandal in this country's history ever. 250,000 vulnerable young white girls, as many as that are thought to have been victimised by these gangs, these grooming gangs of predominantly, obviously, male Pakistani origin Muslims. Yesterday, Labour cancelled. They didn't give us a national public inquiry, which we demanded and I think we deserved. But they said, oh, we'll give you 5 locals. Will that do you? Well, not really, but we'll take it. Should have been a lot more than that. Anyway, they cancelled them yesterday. So I believe this is a betrayal, particularly of the poor victims. It's also a betrayal of the entire nation. We deserve an inquiry into this. We deserve to know exactly what went wrong here, because something very, very bad went wrong. Very, very bad indeed. Now we're going to talk to a victim of the grooming gang in Rotherham. Her name is Elizabeth. She's written a book and she's agreed to come on and tell us her story. Obviously, we're not going to identify her or show you her face, but it's very good of her and very brave of her to come on the show. So welcome to the show, Elizabeth.
Hi, you all right?
I'm okay. Thank you very much for joining us. First of all, before we get into your story, tell us what you feel about what happened yesterday, that Labour called off any inquiries whatsoever into what happened to you and to as many as 250,000 other young white girls like you. What do you feel that will now be no inquiries whatsoever into what went wrong?
I think it wasn't good enough in January when they come up with these 5 inquiries anyway. I think survivors across the country, you know, from towns and cities, from the towns and cities that they come from, and they haven't had any inquiries. I'm from a town that has had inquiries, and I think to get the survivors up that they might find justice and truth within their towns or cities, and then to be let down like they were yesterday, I think it's not just morally wrong, it's quite cruel.
Yeah, that's a good point, Elizabeth. I mean, you're right. I mean, when Labour said, because we're all demanding, I mean, for the sake of you and for the sake of all the other victims and for the sake of a furious nation, we were all demanding in January, look, you owe us a national public inquiry into this. And they said, oh, no, no, no. I'll tell you what, how about 5 local inquiries? As you say, Elizabeth, that was nowhere near good enough, because actually this was going on all over the country, not just in 5 local areas. So that wasn't good enough, but at least it was something. So yesterday, when they called it off, you felt that was just a very cruel decision.
It was, yeah. You know, we've spent years and years wanting justice, truth, you know, and just to be recognised of what we were, victims, and victims of an absolutely heinous crime. And we never, ever seem to get the recognition of what we've been through and the level of what we've been through. The public still don't know what we've been through, the extent we've been through, you know. And another thing that isn't put across is actually what is child sexual exploitation. It's not just within one town or one city. This goes, it networks across the country, and that's why it's important that we should have a national inquiry to join them dots up, get proper data, get proper statistics, because it's not just about historical victims and historical survivors. This is about protecting our children now, and until we know the key factors of what the motives are, how it's happening, where the failings are, how are we going to protect our future children? We're going to end up with 250,000 more victims. How's that right?
Yeah. You see, the thing is, Elizabeth, you've written a book. It's called Snatched, Trapped by a Woman to be Sold to Men. We'll go into your story in just a little while, because unusually you were groomed by a woman who then effectively sold you to men, to the Rotherham gang. But you know, you're a brave and intelligent girl. You've written a book. You sued your tormentors, and you secured a £425,000 settlement. So you are an able, intelligent, brave, courageous girl. But many, many, many more of the victims are not as talented as you, if I can put it that way. And they are the people who really, really deserve an inquiry, because not many people will write a book, not many people will sue. So do you see what I'm getting at?
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been ever so lucky in my journey through my campaigning, that I've had a good network of people. I've been given opportunities that many wouldn't. And I'm very, very grateful for that. But there's things that I do is to open them floodgates for those that haven't got a voice. I've always prided my campaigning and my advocacy to give those voiceless a voice. But that shouldn't be left down to people like me. But it's the government and the police and things like that what should be giving them victims a voice.
Absolutely.
They're not.
What did you think yesterday? As I say, we're going to get onto your story in just a second. What did you think about Jess Phillips yesterday? I don't know if you saw that little interlude in Parliament where the Tory lady was making quite an impassioned speech about this scandal and why there should be an inquiry. And Jess Phillips, who's supposed to be, well, is the Labour Minister for Safeguarding and Violence Against Women and Girls, just sort of sat there shuffling, looking bored. What did you think about her? How does she safeguard violence against women and girls by backing a decision not to have an inquiry into what happened to 250,000 young girls?
She chose politics over what's right. I've said that from when she voted down for the national inquiry. You can't advocate for women and children and then act like that. I saw it myself. One of the examples gave in Katie Lamb's speech were actually my dad's. And
oh, really?
Yeah. And for her to sit there and look bored, it just says a very lot. And I think the reason why a lot of them are not standing up and speaking like Katie Lamb did yesterday is because, one, it's uncomfortable and they don't want to hear it, and number two, it's political death.
It's politics. You're right. She prioritised politics over, I would say, human decency. Can we just get to your story? Obviously, you won't want to go into all the details, but you've written a book about it. Now, you got groomed unusually by a woman who lured you in. Her name was Shafina Ali. She was involved with the Rotherham paedophile ring. She plied you with alcohol and drugs. Tell us your story. How did it happen?
So basically, my story starts off from starting secondary school. Because I'm quite academically bright, I didn't quite fit in. So I suffered from bullying, and then what had happened is I started tweeting, and this woman were on the street. Unknown to me, there was high intelligence around this woman about the antics that she got up to. She lured me into her flat, saying that her daughter was in there suffering from the same things as myself. I came from a very, very good background. I'm not your what people think is a stereotypical grooming.
Yeah.
I wasn't a care child. I came from a loving family, and I was truanting, going home, going back to the flat when I should have been in school. And one day when I went, that other girl wasn't there. Unknown to me, because I was quite naive, I fell into this vicious cycle, and I was kept in the flat for 10 weeks.
But by men? 10 weeks?
Yeah,
10 weeks?
10 weeks, yeah. During that time, my mum and dad were ringing everybody for help, South Yorkshire Police over 200 times. Around that period of time, the only adult that were held responsible for my abuse wasn't the abusers, it was my dad. He was arrested twice.
So really?
Yeah. Yeah, so the only ones that were held accountable at that time was my dad for trying to get me out.
Elizabeth, I don't want to, you can say whatever you're comfortable with, but you were systematically sexually abused during those 10 weeks?
I absolutely were, yeah.
How were you feeling then?
I was isolated. Like I say, I go back to I had a really good childhood and everything like that. And then to go from that to that, I was isolated. I had no one around me. I was just reliant on the perpetrators.
And how did you eventually sort of get out of that situation?
I got referred to somewhere called Risky Business Project, what was a youth project in Rotherham, helping children just like myself. And it was actually my risky business worker. I always say to her, I have to, people said that angels walk amongst us, and she was definitely mine. She was the one that, alongside my parents, actually kept me alive.
Now, you were 15 at the time, and when you eventually got to tell your story, I mean, your parents must have been distraught. How did you tell it to the police? What did the police do?
Basically, the police just ignored it because the intelligence around the property that I was in was actually the woman who, Shafina. She was already known to the services in 1999. My abuse was in 2003. And she was known in 1999 to have, she'd set up like a fake rape crisis helpline to lure young girls into exploitation, and South Yorkshire Police actually shut that down. Rotherham Borough Council gave her a contract to pick young children up from school. She went by 9 different aliases. The list continues. She was known to hang around anywhere where young children or young people hung around, sexual health clinics, parks, outside schools. They knew all of it. They chose to ignore it. They stayed silent.
So your teachers, the police, local councillors, nobody helped you. Nobody would help you.
No.
Go on, sorry.
I was classed as a bad behaved child that made informed choices about where I wanted to be. I made that lifestyle choice, so by making that choice as a child, making adult decisions as a child, I was literally, basically making that decision to be put in, and I deserved it. And that's what it says all the way through my files. I made that choice.
Dear. And your tormentors, this woman, Shafina Ali, and the guys who sort of basically held you for 10 weeks, did they get nicked in the end? Did they get arrested? Did they get prosecuted?
So when the Alexis J report came out, I came forward, and I ended up with the National Crime Agency. It was found out that Shafina had died in 2009.
Good.
One of the abusers was sentenced in 2018, so that had been like 15 years since it had happened. He was sentenced.
What? Just one of them? Just one of them?
Just one of them, yeah.
Do you ever, Elizabeth, do you ever see any of these guys around Rotherham, around your local area?
Yeah, we're living on top of each other all the time.
Really?
I live on the outskirts, but if you go into Rotherham Town Centre, you're all over each other. And because it's been normalised that much throughout the years, everybody just gets about the business. It's really strange.
So you when you go into town, you regularly bump into the guys who sexually abused you? Yeah. Oh, my God. Well, thanks so much for talking to us, Elizabeth. I think it's important stuff, this. How are you now? How are you now? How is your life?
So I've got really bad trauma, obviously. But, I'm just getting on with campaigning. I'm just involved with a group that's just set up for the children. So that's a campaign group that will be going around the country raising awareness and obviously demanding a national inquiry as well. We need a national inquiry.
Yeah, well, we certainly back you on that one, but it doesn't look like Labour are going to help you out. So what about your personal life? Do you have a romance? Yeah, is there a guy in your life, or is that not really worked out?
No, it's not. It's not for me, that.
Well, because of what happened to you. Well,
Yeah.
so this is how you get. This is how you got damaged. I mean, what a terrible thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, listen, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for talking to us, and we'll keep in touch because we're going to call here at Talk for a national inquiry, a public inquiry, because I think you deserve it, all the other victims deserve it, and the nation deserve it. So, Elizabeth, you're a brave woman. Thank you very much for talking to us.